Back with us here on Power Breakfast. Time to tell you how will all of those overnight cues impact our own markets. We have our research team joining in with the trade setup, the stocks that are likely to be in the news, and of course updates from the F&O side of things. Well, as you heard Jerome Powell say on Friday that the time has come for the policy to adjust, and that was the statement that the street wanted to hear. Jerome Powell indicating that rate cuts are now imminent, and he also mentioned that the future trajectory of rate cuts will depend on the incoming data, evolving outlook, and of course the balance of risks. And that was something that Wall Street cheered wholeheartedly because the US market handover was very positive. The Dow Jones, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, all of them ending very with substantial gains over 1.5% at least, and they have almost now back to their record high levels which they had hit last month. The Dow is almost 200 points away from its record high. The S&P 500 is just 35 points away. The Nasdaq though is some distance away, but it needs one good session to recover that much of distance. Is that rubbing off on the Indian markets as well? To a certain extent, yes. The GIFT Nifty still suggesting a 60-point uptick at the start of our trading session. But remember, the Nifty is coming on the back of 7-day winning streak now. In the last week, all of the 5 days, the Nifty ended higher. A percent gains for the week. The Nifty Bank too, despite having a topsy-turvy trajectory, ended with gains of 0.8%. So it is the Nifty and the Nifty Bank that will continue to remain in focus because it is also the start of the expiry week for the August series. The Nifty is absolutely flat for this series so far. The Nifty Bank though has been an underperformer, down almost 600 points from the expiry of the July series. So we'll keep an eye out on that as well. There was only one index on Friday. It was an absolutely sluggish session. Only one index that held on to gains, which was the Nifty Auto Index. The others had a pretty much listless session. The underperformers though, they came from Realty, IT, and of course the Media Index. That does not have a significant impact on the overall market, but the Realty and IT stocks saw a bit of selling pressure on Friday. A lot of stock-specific news flow will continue. The Nifty rejig was announced on Friday. Trent and BEL on expected lines. Most of it has been priced in by the streets, as is the exclusion of LTI Mindtree and Divi's Laboratories as well. But we'll keep an eye out on if there is any reaction to all of these names as well. But some important questions to ask in today's session though. Has that speech from Jerome Powell done enough to take the Nifty past its previous record high, which is 25,078, which it had hit last month? But since this is expiry week, will that sentiment be kept in check? Because the banks have been fluctuating between gains and losses, one day up, one day down. The IT index is also not contributing to the gains as well. So will that keep the Nifty gains in check? And of course, last week was one full of block deals, almost 20,000 crores taking place in the last 3 trading sessions. And will that continue this week as well? And will that have an impact on the market? So plenty of questions to be asked. It is expiry week. We'll keep an eye out on some key levels on the index. The GIFT Nifty is still suggesting a 60-point uptick at the start of trade. Over to Abhishek now, who is going to list out the stocks that you need to watch out for in today's session. Abhishek, good morning. What's on your list?
Good morning, Homa. So to begin with ONGC, they have started production from the 5th oil well in the block KG that is there, cluster 2 asset. So earlier in January, oil production were commenced from the same asset with 4 of the 13 wells already flowing. Gas production is also advancing with 3 of the 7 wells online. Reliance Power and Reliance Infra in focus. SEBI has passed its final order with respect to Reliance Home Finance and others. Reliance Power and Reliance Infra were not a noticee or party of the proceedings before SEBI. ZS Life, they have bought 50% stake in Sterling Bio for consideration of rupees 550 crores. Finmin has given a nod for FIR stake to go up to 49% in Geofin. Akums Drugs, they have reported the Q1 numbers, revenue up a little more than 5% YOY, and they have turned profitable in Q1 of this fiscal when compared to a loss that they have reported in Q1 of previous fiscal. KEC, they have got new orders nearly about 1,080 crores. Back to you.
Abhishek, thanks a lot for that update. We'll keep an eye out on all of these names. And lastly, Sudarshan joins in with cues from the F&O space. Sudarshan, continue to remain within touching distance of 25,000. How's the setup looking like on the F&O side of things?
Morning, Omas. That's correct. So just if you talk about the last week amid consolidation, we saw market recording gains for second straight week. But on Friday, it was a tight range of trade, and amid that, we saw Sensex and Nifty closing with minor gains. But one sector that has been focused for the last few weeks and might remain in the focus for today as well is the Nifty IT. That's on the back of statement of US Fed Chairman saying the time has come for the policy to adjust. Now, talking about the institutional activities, we saw both FIs and DIs buying shares in the cash market. FIs bought shares of almost 2,000 crore, while DIs buy figure was almost 3,000 crore. Now, if we talk about the August so far, DIs have bought shares of more than 45,000 crore, and they have been buying for 15 consecutive sessions, while sell figure of FIs is almost rupees 30,000 crore. In the index future, amid tight range, we saw FIs buying shares of rupees 92 crore index futures. In the Nifty, they have cut positions by almost rupees 170 crore, while in the Nifty Bank, they have added positions of more than rupees 237 crore. Talking about the long contracts and exposure, they have added contracts of more than 25,000, and with this, long exposure remains constant for 52% for last 4 days. Now, talking about the options, on the call side, 24,800 call, we saw addition of more than 21 lakh shares with premium at 159. And for 24,900 call, we saw addition of more than 14 lakh shares with premium at 107. On the put side, for 24,800 put, we saw addition of nearly 24 lakh shares. And for 24,700 put, we saw addition of more than 15 lakh shares. With these important levels for Nifty, support is seen somewhere around 24,700 and resistance is seen somewhere around 25,000. Lastly, in the stocks in focus, there are 13 stocks in the band and new entrant is Balrampur Chini. But keep an eye on those two stocks that have come out of the band, and those are LIC Housing and Piramal Enterprises.
13 stocks still in the FNO ban is starting expiry weeks. Darshan, thanks a lot for that update.